Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Aquarius. So, you are getting today the sun in Scorpio, and Scorpio is important for you because Scorpio brings the transformation, brings the death, and Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto in the tarot is the last judgment, is the call, is that awakening that is coming to you right now on the 19th of November. You already had Pluto in your house, you already felt the energy shifting, right? And now it's gonna stay for 20 years. Pluto's gonna stay 20 years in your house, the house of community and technology. And this is what Scorpio brings, right? Scorpio is the death, is the biggest transformation that we can imagine. And in your deck, death looks like this. We have every 7 years a whole new body. And you see that she is looking over to the butterfly and she knows it's okay. It's okay to shed. It's okay to exhale. It's okay also to give up the body when necessary, when death comes. Die gracefully at least, right? And then transition to a new life. And so this is giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign. And I'm placing the cards to the left because we're going to the new moon. Your new moon is where you arrive back deep within you. You have the sun and the new moon, then both in your sign. And this is the introverted path, the inner path, right? The path where I see deep within the potential that I have. Here, sun god Apollo sitting here in front of the Taj Mahal. And you see how the eye is looking at her, right? I see you, and you see the bird, and you see that the eye is the window of the soul, and there is such a beautiful message already coming through here. Now you're the 17th major arcana, and of course Scorpio is the 13th major arcana. And when we calculate them together, we get actually the 30. And so the 30 is clear, the Empress, that's Venus. Venus is the one that creates new things, and the 3 is in the 13. But I can also calculate here the 4, right? 13 together, and here I make the 8. The 8 and the 4 is the 12. And the 12 is the Hanged Man, and in the Hanged Man is the beauty of letting go, is the beauty of, I let go of my exhale, right? I let go of the cells that are dead now, and I reproduce new cells. And so out of the 12 then we get the 3. So the Empress shows you how it's done, and it's clear that you are learning now to really become empowered because Pluto is coming to you. The sun is always that moment where we recognize we shine out there. We want to show to the world that we can let go, that we can transform, that our personality is not staying the same. It shifts with the sun, right? When the sun goes into a new zodiac sign, we all feel that. And right now it's about letting go. The moon in itself really is the subconscious and of course all our feelings. So she's looking up to the moon and she's desiring to develop her sense of intuition, but there are still demons or monsters lurking in the dark of the subconscious, and we want to look at that. We want to see what's there. And so sun god Apollo, what's so beautiful is here that the sun is a dwarf star. And so here comes sun god Apollo, and the sun is the dwarf star that is now giving through Scorpio the light to the moon so that you can look at what's still there that you want to liberate yourself from. The yoga position for Scorpio, Scorpio pose. We bring the feet above our head and we transform through that. And the yoga position for you is side plank, Santolanasana, and then stretching yourself up into this star position, and knowing that you are an air sign, knowing that you are now for the next 20 years are gonna be influenced by the call, by the last judgment, by the judgment in general, right? That we awaken to our own angelic beingness. And so it's really gonna be interesting, because I already saw in the German reading that the message was more for the collective. All my readings are for the collective, but in the end, of course, it's for you, my dear Aquarius, right? But for a lot of people, it's kind of like, well, but my moon is in another sign. I'm just using the moon as this subconscious energy that I can pick up so I can bring the reading to you. So I'm not using it as the sun sign. I'm using it as the moon that is, when it's in your sign, is bringing you this information. But of course, you can also see it as that. Where is the moon in your sign? And so maybe you do not have the moon in Aquarius, right? You maybe have the moon in another sign. And so you can, of course, look at that reading as well. Maybe there is a message for you there as well. So this just to the sun and the moon, and of course the Pluto, right, the last judgment, and you are ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in the tarot the Fool. And we take this foolish path down the rabbit hole through this crocodile. The crocodile is always this like subconscious energy that is lurking deep in the waters and might eat us, right? But when we consciously go down and recognize there is maybe a valid information that I can liberate myself from, that's the revolution in itself. That's what Uranus brings, a new beginning, right? And you are starting a completely new beginning, because Pluto is 20 years in your sign from November 19th on. You are the King of Swords. We have two, a masculine and a feminine, that works really for the woke culture, and is your birthday between January 9th and February 7th, then is this your court card. You're the 11th zodiac sign, and as the 11th zodiac sign, you're connected to the 11th house of science and technology. And so here we have also the community. And we see that more and more communities can exist because of the internet, because of the technology that we have created. And so now you are recognizing that you can empower yourself. And so because there are two kings here, we have an 1111 portal. Very important, right? Each time when I see this, I'm like reminded that you are born into a portal, because you're the 11th zodiac sign, and in that the portal is clear. 2 is always creativity and intuition, in that oneness, in that higher consciousness. So this just to you right now, right? If your birthday is between what I said, the 9th of January and the 7th of February, then this is your court card. If not, look in the description. I have listed them all below there. As Aquarius, you are a visionary, and the visionary sees things others cannot see. And so it's really important to understand that sometimes the Aquarian energy can be cold, can be aloof, can be people that are a little bit like in a strange world, but that's what's gonna now happen to all of us. We're really going into a very interesting time frame, particularly the mystical side of Pluto being in Aquarius is gonna really show us, wow, there are really crazy things out there. And I will not be surprised if really the aliens or these like extraterrestrial beings are finally showing themselves to us. Back to the last reading where you had Libra Sun giving Aquarius Moon the light. realize the big transformation when Pluto enters your sign for 20 years. So I've been in the last weeks really being pushed to constantly look at this big transformation. There are other shifts, right? Planets moving into different signs, etc. And the biggest one for me right now is that really Pluto is going into your sign for 20 years. And that's always the number 20 is then the judgment. So here I want to see if there is a reoccurring card. Actually, I see that the Devil card came up 3 times, and that's really unheard of, and actually the Queen of Pentacles. And it's almost like saying, well, you really need to talk to a Capricorn, because Capricorn is the one that is actually gonna tell you how the last 15 years was for them. And trust me, they went through a major transformation. And actually you had twice the Queen of Pentacles coming up. It was a very strong reading. It was actually, I remember now that it was quite really beautiful at the same time, but also very intense. And so we begin your reading. We begin with the feminine and the masculine king, and what is coming up is the Emperor, and the Emperor is the number 4, and the 4 appears when we calculate the 13 together. So when you let go and when you trust that the Empress is creating a new soul, right, and that's what you see in your third eye, in your inner eye, then you know that you can rule your life and you can actually be someone that really knows what he's doing. And this Emperor, as you can see, he's quite really a natural emperor, right? He has this empirical thinking. He has like a mustache out of twigs, and he has all these flowers on his jacket, not this like, I did this battle and that battle and I get a medal. He's like, I have flowers here. So the 4. So this could be the 4th of November or the 11th of April as a date. Just watch always when I bring up the dates, which one feels intuitive, close to you, or does something to you, right? Then we want to know what is the Emperor saying, and the Emperor is bringing you the Queen of Swords. And this is interesting because that's Libra, and that was the last reading. Realize the big transformation when Pluto enters your sign for 20 years. So it's almost like these two are letting you know, because they're on the same axis, right? They're opposite of each other. Recognize that you are awakening to the understanding that duality is the most powerful tool for us to learn. And in that learning of the black and the white and the path towards each other, right, lies the message here, because she's the 7th court card, and here we have a 4, so a 7 and the 4 makes an 11, and the 11 is always again the 11, right? The portal, the knowledge that we gained from deep within. And so there comes an 11 with the 11 here. So we have already 6 times the 1 or 3 times the 11. Observe, right? Then I want to see what is Libra wanting to tell you. And she brings the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is actually Aries, and so the cycle closes. It's almost like he is looking this way, and remember, when you look at the card you see that he's going to the right, or he's looking to the right, but when you become the card you see that he's going to the left, that he is looking to the left, right? And that's the big difference, that we need to understand right or left, and it's always in the end a cycle. It's cyclical. And so Libra and here Aries are opposite of each other. And so it's almost like Libra is telling you, yes, then you can rule. Yes, then you have all the fire to begin something completely new, to begin to be like an adventurer, right? She is the Queen of Wands. She has the tiger here, and she is really creative, and she is a leader. And it's almost like you get that through the Queen of Swords, because you are the King of Swords, and you understand the Queen of Swords really well, because she's also quite intellectually comparable to you. It's just she's feminine and you're masculine, right? And so here comes the understanding. See the Aries energy, see that you are now becoming someone that is really strong. And so here the 7 and the 1 is the 8, the 8 and the 4 is the 12, the Hanged Man, letting go, Neptune, right? Always letting go. We're learning to let go. We're learning to know that every 7 years we get a completely new body, and that's really something beautiful. So the 12 then again turns into a 3, and now we have here the 11, 11 and the 3 left in here, this position. But I want to see what is bringing the Mother Piece Tarot. And the Mother Piece Tarot is bringing you the 5 of Discs to the left, which is Mercury in Taurus. And the 5 of Discs to the left is pointing here to the Libra energy, and also of course here to the Queen of Wands. So here we had the 8 and the 5 is the 13, the transformation. You are going to be transformed. You are going to come out of this. And so are we, right? We all are going to feel this. We all are going to be like, wow, this is crazy, right? Now, Pluto not in an earth sign anymore, right? Here the earth. Pluto in an air sign. Pluto in the way we think, in the way we receive thoughts, information, etc. And so the 13 turns into a 3. The 3 and the 4 is the 7, and the 7 is then the emotional intelligence that we need to understand that the 7 is the crown chakra, that you have here the 11, 11, right? But also you have here now the 7, and the 7 is I really understand what's happening. I really get it. I really need to include my opposite sign. And for you, that is, of course, the King of Wands. But the Queen of Wands has come up, more the feminine aspect. So it's almost like here the feminine king is coming and saying, yes, we women can be rulers, and we show to the world that we can not only bake bread, but we actually can lead. We actually can become someone special. And so here the 5 is talking about that. You are learning over the 5 senses that the 5 and the 1 is the 6. The 6 is then the success. You need to use, right, the resources that you have. And we know that technology created all these amazing videos, and all of a sudden in the lockdown, we were all baking bread. We were all of a sudden being reminded, well, if we cannot buy it out there anymore, we're going to become more self-sufficient. Gardening and baking and etc., cooking has become again like such a big thing on the internet, and you see there are always new ways of actually creating content and creating a life for yourself, and that's what's talking here, right? So here, just with these 3, we have the 4 and the 7 is the 11 and the 5 is the 16. The 16 is the Tower. Sometimes things need to go, and when they go, it's good because we want to really let go. But always remember the 7 is left here. The 7 is the emotional intelligence for you to understand that, right? Once you understand that, what's coming and how things are coming, you will not be dependent on no one anymore. Good. Now we're looking at the Fool. We're looking at Uranus, and Uranus is bringing you the 4 of Pentacles, which is the Sun in Capricorn. Now the sun in Capricorn comes after the sun in Sagittarius, right, in the second next reading, and you are noticing now that there is a stability that is wanting to come. You had 5 pentacles and 4 is 9 pentacles. That's completion. And so baking bread brought to you a certain stability. You know how to make things happen so that you can survive. And that's beautiful because Mercury in Taurus brings just that. So the path down the rabbit hole led you to the 4, led you to a stability, right? And in that stability, you can create new things. Then, of course, I wanted to see what else is coming from your deck, the 10 of Cups, which is Mars in Pisces. Now, Mars is the Tower, and the Tower as the 16 has come up, right? And you see here this beautiful couple and all these little fish. This is the couple that is bridging the differences, right? They're both half fish, half human. And so in that we get the 14. The 14 is Temperance, which is in the next reading, right? Sun in Sagittarius. And so the 14 brings you a deeper understanding of, well, if you in your own equilibrium, if you in your own 4 walls, understanding what's possible and how you can create, the 5 appears again, and the 5 will then create a 5-5 portal, right? And in twice the 5 we understand, well, we learn how we understand how this world functions, because the Emperor and the Queen of Wands also creates a 5. So then you have 3 times the 5. And 3 times the 5 is understanding that the 5 senses are what holds us here in this dimension. And sometimes we need to break free from that, right? What is coming from the Mother Piece Tarot? The 6 of Pentacles to the left. And now you have 6 and 4 is 10, 10 and 5, 15 pentacles. That's Capricorn, right? Don't get attached to the money. Don't let money rule your life. Allow that here, the moon in Taurus, and Taurus is the opposite sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio and Taurus are always like, we need to understand that money shifts as well. Money finds different ways of expressing itself, and now money is getting more into the air, right? Because of Aquarius, we are seeing that most of the money is actually in the air and the bank is using it. And do you want that, right? You need to ask yourself always that question. And so the 6 of Pentacles is this, I give and I receive, and you see how she gives a massage, and it's this beautiful energy that is pointing to this couple. This couple has understood how to treat each other respectfully. They are in their own world together. The 4 and the 6 is a 10, so there is a 10-10 portal, and in that 10-10 portal we also get the 0, so in a way we get 100, from 10 to 100. And 100 is saying, well, I get it. I need to create my own path. I need to create my own stability. I need to create what I can create. And this is what Uranus is bringing. Uranus is the new beginning in the way I want to live a relationship, in the way I want to understand a romantic relationship that is gonna be defined from now on in a completely different way. And of course we had the 15 pentacles, but when we calculate them together we get the 6, and the 6 is clear, is self-love. Only people who love themselves so much, they would never be in an abusive relationship. They would leave right away. They're like, no, thank you. If you don't understand how giving and receiving functions, right, then I'm not going to stay here. And so the 6 is left, and the 6 is here pointing at them, and they're using it. And that's what you want. You are taking that path down the rabbit hole because you want a relationship like this. And it looks like you might just get it. Then we look at the star, and the star is bringing you the Five of Cups. Now the Five of Cups, in a way, right, we have here the 5-5 portal, the 5 Pentacles, and the 5 of Cups. It's a certain sadness that is residing in you, and also a fear of not having enough. You need to really look at that, because the 5 of Cups is Mars in Scorpio, and Scorpio is maybe making you feel things are slipping away from you. You are like, I need to save money, and now I need to see that these 3 flowers are lost. But if you would just turn around, you would see here are 2 more flowers. And remember, she's looking over to the left. And when you become the card, she's actually looking to the right. If she would look to the right, from the outer perspective, she would see the inside, the duality that is still there. And in the duality, we can create. So the 17 and the 5 is the 22. And the 22 is Uranus, is the Fool. The Fool is 0, but also the 22nd major arcana. And so Uranus is letting you know you gotta let go of things that you maybe thought were important. The 3 is the Empress. Here is duality. Here is your intuition. Here's the High Priestess. Here is the Moon, right? And the Moon, we know, is the 18. And in the 18 comes the 9. And the 9, again, we understand, we learn as much as we can through the completion in our lives. But now you have the 22. And the 22, very clear, is such a beautiful energy, right? It's kind of like, now I understand from the 11, right? That inner knowing, that knowledge that we gain from looking deep within into the 22 is bringing you a clarity. But I can also, when we calculate the 17 together, right, we want to bring the cards into a single digit. It's the path, it's the work, right? And so 17 becomes 8. The 8 and the 5 becomes actually the 13. And the 13, again, is the transformation, is what actually we know as I let go of things. I see the flowers are here in the water, but I have 2 more, and I understand that then the 4 appears, and you had the 4 here as the Emperor. So you can either create a 22, which is Uranus, the new beginning, or you become quite here empirical thinking, and you're like, okay, how I'm going to create this, how I'm going to make things happen that I'm not poor, right? But awaken to a new possibility. Then I want to see what is Scorpio saying, and Scorpio is bringing you the 8 of Swords, and that's Jupiter in Gemini. And Gemini is the communication, and so you see there is a pattern. This tree is being stuck, right, in these swords, and the 8 is always this, like, there's a pattern that you keep repeating, and maybe that pattern comes from a deep abandonment from your childhood. You need to look at that, because this is self-made and it's created by yourself, right? And so there is a certain sadness that you are losing things that you need to let go. But remember, you have the 2 here, and so the 8, and of course the 5 is again the 13, and again the transformation is coming, the 4. Now you see here that the 8 and this 8 creates an 8-8 portal, and the 8-8 portal is to understand that the star that is above you is leading the way. This little star is leading the way, and you can trust that, and you can let go of that, right? So we can leave the 8 and here the 13, the 4, but we can also then hear the 8 and the 4 calculate the 12 together, and the 12 again is the Hangman. Let go of this, because it's not gonna suit you. And out of that comes the 3, the Empress, the one that creates, the one that knows, I know I can create a completely new body. What is coming from the Mother Peace Tarot? We get the 6 of Cups to the left, down, And to the left down is exactly what I said. Let go. The 6 of Cups is Sun in Scorpio. So the Sun in Scorpio is talking seriously to you. Let go. 5 Cups and 6 Cups are 11 Cups, and again you are noticing the number 11 is bringing you the inner intelligence to understand that this pattern needs to go. You need to let go also of this, and this is of course thinking of the past, right? Your memories, you thinking of things that have been or has been done to you, and you need to let go. So here we have 11-8 or 8-11 as a date, right? And of course we have here an 8-8 and here the 11. And you see now how clear the numbers are talking. When we see that, we listen more, or we look at numbers more, and we can see that the 11 is always this, I know the inner teacher is coming. I know it doesn't matter if I'm a masculine or a feminine king. I am the king of swords, and I am getting the new information. And sometimes the new information can actually create already a new pattern. And then here you let go, right? And so all together we had here 10 cups. And here 11 cups, that's 21 cups. That's the world. That's Saturn, and the world is feeling what's going on. The world is feeling that actually Pluto is going into your sign, and we are already noticing that people are like, okay, what am I going to do with all these thoughts? Because Jupiter is the planet of expansion, right? Is the planet of growth. And Gemini is like more and more information is coming, and it's going to be like, oh my God, so much information, 8 swords. And you see how these swords are stuck around this tree, and it's almost like they step in and they bother the tree to grow in whatever direction the tree wants to grow. And the swords are hindering him to be free. And that's what your thoughts do to you. They hinder you to be free, like a tree that grows in any direction. And so here the 8-8 and the 11, or the 21, right? Remember, it's like the whole world feels what's going on, and that's why is this message also for everybody else. And so we all need to awaken now, that we need to check how we think and how we interact and what's going on, right? Through Pluto in actually Aquarius, and that we have the 15 pentacles, right? Remember that as well. We had here all of them, and you see that the 15 turns then into a 6 when we understand the 15. The 15 is like the 10, which is the wheel of fortune, which is Jupiter, and the 5 are the 5 senses. So use your 5 senses to liberate yourself, to bring yourself out there. But also the 1 could be Mercury, right? Understand that then the 6th chakra is awakened when we let go of the 5 pentacles, when we let go of the poverty, the thoughts that think I'm not worth it, I'm not good enough, right? And then here comes the 6 of pentacles. Yes, you are good enough. Here are 11 pentacles, right? And then here, of course, the 4, the stability. You can come into the 15 pentacles and make it a 6, because in the 6 you see it in the 3rd eye that everything is coming and going and coming and going, and you have 6 cups and 6 pentacles, and you have 5 pentacles and 5 cups. And so as such, you learning very clearly that everything is talking, that everything is bringing you an information, and that the 6 here is important, because then you have twice the 6, right? But you also had the 11, and you had all these beautiful signs that brought you to let go, right? And that's where the Queen of Swords comes in. She helps you to let go of this type of thinking, because she's also very much connected with the mind, right? And so you got to learn to be an emperor, because this is what's saying or talking here, because you got the emperor and you got actually the court card. You got the soul aspect and the court card, and so there is an Aries here that is hopefully helping you to really see what's happening and awaken to your own power. So I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the sun in Sagittarius. We had the 14 coming up, right? Where we had here the 10 and the 4. That was the 14. So understand that the 14 is then, when we calculate together, the 5. So until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.